Last semester, Hamlin University's Anthropology department stirred things up a little by trying out a new idea. The idea was to combine two classes, the museum class with the Archaeology Lab Class. The two professors in charge of this collaboration were David Davies and Brian Hoffman.
My class is basically an introduction to the most critical lab techniques that archaeologists use, and so it includes things like cataloging and some very standard sorts of analysis. So students learn about how to analyze Native American ceramics and stone tools, animal bones. So we cover a lot of real basic skills. I like it to be where they're learning the skills, but they're also kind of starting to think about what objects mean.
I've been teaching it as long as I've been at Hamlin, every other year. And the class focuses on the social context of museums, the way that museums are designed, the way that museums are used as educational places, the way that people visit them, and the way that this relates to sort of the general history of exhibitions showing things to people in public contexts.
Back in 2004, we excavated on Hamlin campus at a building site that was where the original Hall of Science stood. So it was the third building constructed on campus. One of the things that I particularly like about it too is the Hall of Science. It had one of the earliest natural science museums in this part of the country. This was my very first attempt at doing historic archaeology on campus. Wasn't quite sure what we would even find, and I was just pleased that we found bricks. So the Hamlin Methodist Church, and we call it the Hamlin Methodist Episcopal Church, or that's what it was called at the time. The Hamlin Methodist Church, the original church there that had burned down in 1925. We started that excavation in 2007, found the foundation, which I was really excited about. It was a building destroyed by fire. And so we found lots and lots of evidence of fire, these sort of masses of conglomerated charcoal and wood and metal all sort of melded together, lots and lots of glass. My favorite is all the stained glass from the windows. It's because they're so colorful. See all those shards. In the church site, when we were digging down through that sand and gravel fill, we found toys. We found a marble, a little toy ring. Then inside the church, part of the reason why we think that it was the Sunday school room, is that we found a whole bunch of the short safety scissors with the blunt ends instead of the sharp ends. Dave Davies has been teaching this museum class, and so at one point in time I suggested that maybe a student of his or a group of his students could design the next exhibit after the next excavation.
I thought, wait a second, here's a professor who's digging up stuff, and he's going through the archaeological process of excavation and talking to students about that and all the different stages of that. And then I thought, I've got this need in my class for students to work on projects that are larger than just one person. And I thought to myself, maybe there's a way to work this out. We basically figured out that he's got an excavation every other year, and I've got a museum class every other year, and we could have the museum class work with the archaeology class. We could have them work on different parts of the same project and then sort of find places where they might overlap once or twice during this semester.
Do you guys know what this is?
I have no idea.
Since it was in a church, there have been thoughts of maybe it was a giant glass, say baptismal bowl or something on the altar. Ooh, it's a hunk.
What we're doing is we are taking the objects that were found in that dig and we're making an exhibit.
Oh yeah, actually every year we do a design competition. So the students' final project, during the final section that's allotted to us, the 2-hour block, the students are tasked with giving a 10-minute pitch, basically a sales pitch or a design presentation about the exhibit project that they've been working on for the last half semester or more. They do it in front of a 6-person panel of judges. And the judges are 2 members from the community, 2 members from the university, 1 member of the previous class from the previous year, and then another member usually from the church where a lot of the excavation took place. And they will choose the best exhibit.
Ultimately, what we would like to develop is this sort of three-part class in which students participate in various different ways.
Quite frankly, there are very few opportunities for archaeologists and cultural anthropologists to get together to work on projects like this. And the students seem to like to work in groups. They seem to like to have a sense that there's a larger meaning to their classwork.
I think it's really great. I think it would have been much more difficult to try to create, a museum or an exhibit about something that we couldn't really apply a real life kind of aspect with, if you know what I mean.
The way that I've been thinking more recently is I don't understand why we don't just do more collaborative classes because there are lots of natural connections between different classes.
I think it'd be a cool idea. It kind of puts students more in touch with what's going on academically in other courses.
It's more about the way that you make students' work meaningful in a larger context. So how can you make 2 classes or 3 classes, how can you have them overlap in ways that the work students do is not just an assignment that the professor grades, but contributes to something, I don't know, larger in some way.
In working together with Professor Davies' museum class, I do hope that we will have a traveling exhibit that can go from the Hancock Elementary School to the church to the community center to Hamlin University and just be in different places and let people get a sense of what's going on. It's about the meaning of objects, the meaning of material culture, and even more than just that these things have inherent meaning, but that we give them meaning and that the meaning changes, and it changes in part with the relationships with people and objects. And so that's, sort of my big picture. That's always what I'm trying to communicate in the class and really in almost everything that I do.